Okay, so for question number 3, D2G is a driving school. Matten started D2G 3 years ago to teach people to drive a car. As the business has been successful, Matten plans to buy a new vehicle. He has been analyzing D2G's income statement. An extract is shown in table 3.1. Matten wants to understand the difference between profit and cash. He also wants to know how an increase in competition and changes in the business cycle might affect D2G. So this is the table where you would be using for the question. Okay, so your first part of the question, you have to state 2 stages of the business cycle. Now, just so you know, the business cycle and product life cycle, they're not the same. I believe many people could confuse with this one. So yeah, it's not the same. They both do have 4 stages in the cycle, but yeah, it's different. So there's 4 again. You have recession, you have growth, you have boom, and then slump. So you can just choose any 2. Doesn't really matter if they don't really have to be in order, or there doesn't have to be like a specific choice. Okay. So for part B, you have to calculate D2G's gross profit margin, where you have to use obviously the table. So what you have to do is you have to take your gross profit, and then you divide it by your revenue, and then you multiply the answer by 100 to get the answer here in percentage. For this one, they ask to show your working, so I guess you show your working, but then in the marking scheme, it said that even if you have the answer, just the answer with no working, you'll still get 2 marks. So I'm not really sure how that goes. You can also take your gross. I think no, that is all. That is your only how to say that is your only method of doing it, because most of the time the calculation questions you will have like 2 to 3 methods, but no, this one only one. Although you can write it down in words, like what you did over here, like the 12,000 divided by the 20,000. You can like write it in words, and then that's all, like, and then write your answer. But you can also do it in numbers, so it's fine. Okay, so for part C, you have to outline with reference to D2G the difference between profit and cash. Okay, your answer doesn't have to be long because it's a 4-mark question, so it's fine. You have a couple of answers. When you compare, make sure you make sense or you relate. All right. So for cash is needed to pay day-to-day expenses, costs, such as fuel for the car. For example, you do have to give an example. Whereas profit is necessary for the long-term survival of the driving school. All right. So like this is a simple comparison, and you're still within contest. So you should be able to get your 4 marks over here. Okay, next for part D. Explain 2 ways D2G might respond to an increase in competition. Alright, so there's obviously a lot of ways. You can use your own words. It doesn't really have to be from the book or from the marking scheme, because I know like many people tend to, tend to memorize the marking scheme. Anyways, so for here I have 2 ways. You way one, you decrease their prices. So the explanation for this is making it more affordable for customers of his driving school. And then another way is to maintain customer relationship. So in order to help ensure customer loyalty and to maintain profit of the $20,000. So yeah, so you just have to relate things to each other, and you'll be able to score for this question as well. Okay, this is a tricky one. The part E, another 6 mark question. Okay, so do you think leasing is the best source of finance for a small business to use or for a new vehicle? Justify your answer. Okay, so I mean, you could go either way again. You're not really credited here, but I believe you should go with the option that has more points or like has more justification, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You can always refer to your textbook and you can always use your own words. No problem. You're still credited. So, yes, I think leasing is the best source of finance for D2G to use. Okay, that's it. Here, you stop and then you start with your explanation. So, the business won't have to find a large sum of cash to purchase the vehicle when using leasing, so which allows the business to obtain the vehicle more quickly. All right. So, next is there will be the care and maintenance carried by leasing company which can lower expenses, of course. Okay, so that is it for the leasing. So when you justify your answer, however, the total cost will be higher than purchasing the vehicle outright, which increases the total outflow, cash outflow. Okay, so for this one, for here, you will get like 2 marks for the justification because it's quite long. And then for the rest, yeah, it should be four for each point. What is two? Like this one here, sorry, this one here is two, and then here it's two as well. Okay, so that is it for question number 3. You can check your marking scheme for more answers. Like if your answer wasn't similar to this one, it's fine because this is not the only answer. There are a lot. Okay, so for number 4, which is the last part of this paper, WTB is a private limited company. It manufactures breakfast cereal. WTB has 600 production workers in its factory. That's a lot. So many of its employees are part-time. That's a keyword. It's a clue. All employees receive training and managers use delegation. Another clue. The human resources director is interested in using motivational theories to help improve employee motivation. So the directors plan to expand the business and are considering to whether to convert WTB into public limited company. All right. Okay, so firstly, we have our good old definition question. You define delegation. So delegation is any form of passing down a authority or like tasks to someone who's under you. That's basically it. So usually businesses use delegation as a form of motivation, and also it is a way to reduce the workload for the managers, for example. So this is the definition, giving a subordinate the authority to perform a particular task. If you were to say subordinate given task to do, you'll get a mark. This is a partial definition. You can say when manager gives authority to another employee to complete a task, although the manager retains the ultimate responsibility for the completion of the task. So the manager is still somehow connected to this, but then again, they're still given full authority. And by they, I mean the employees. Okay, so that is it for this one. Part B, identify 2 motivational theories. Okay, this one should be easy. There's 3. You can just pick 2. Herzberg, Maslow, and then there's Taylor's. Yeah, so Taylor's is scientific theory, Maslow's hierarchy theory, and then you have Herzberg, the 2-factor theory. I'm not really sure if you should like if it's necessary to put this in a bracket and then mention it, but I suggest you do. It's better to do so because it also shows that you understand what you're talking about. Okay, part C. Outline two benefits to WTB of having a part-time employee. This one should be easy. There's a lot of benefits of having part-time. And again, you can use your own words. So here we have the first benefit is when not working, and by not is the part-time employee. When this person or he or she are not working, the business doesn't have to pay to make the breakfast cereal. I mean, here you just have to mention it in order to get your application marks. But then again, um, part-time workers are only paid for things that they do. Basically, their contract isn't as um, serious as someone who works full-time. Full-time workers, they sometimes, even if they're absent, or it depends on the condition you have in the contract, they do still get paid even if they didn't work in a particular day, because again they have a fixed contract, a fixed salary, and a fixed schedule, I would say. So yeah. So another benefit, it is more flexible in hours of work in the factory. Yeah. So I would say there's more. Obviously, you can write better points than this, but these are the most basic ones. So what else do you have? It's also easier to ask employees to just work at busy times, like maybe you're like some sort of trouble, or you're in like a stressful day. You can ask the part-time workers to come if you have a lot of them, of course. And then you can attract well qualified employees who need to have flexible hours. Yes, so having part-time employees can actually get you more full-time. Maybe these part-time are interested in full-time now that they've tried your business. That could be an answer. So yeah, there's a lot. So it depends on what you want to write. Okay. Part D, another 6-mark question. Hold on. So explain 2 reasons why training might be important to WTB. This is a very easy question. It's very simple and logical. So first reason is obviously and of course to improve efficiency. By efficiency, we mean the workload or the workforce, just the overall efficiency in the business. So which could help lower average costs in the factory. And basically this relates to our second point, which is the fewer mistakes made. So from its 600 employees, which in turn lowers costs of the rework. By rework, obviously you know what's rework, working again in order to fix that mistake, which obviously could cost you time, and it will cost you money as well, and it also might cost you extra labor costs. Maybe the workers who are reworking this mistake are not the same, so you might have to pay them extra. You might have to. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. Okay, so the last part for this question is: do you think a public limited company is better from form of a business organization for a growing business than a private limited company? Justify your answer. Again, you are free to choose whichever you like. There's no restrictions over here. So I think it is a good idea. Honestly, at this point, it's up to you, like the business owner. It's up to the business owner whether they want to continue public or private. It doesn't really matter as long as your business is still growing and you know that. So for this one, I chose yes. So yes, I do think that a public limited company is a better form of business for a growing business. So firstly, WTB would have more access to very large amounts of capital, which does not need to be repaid. Okay, that is a good point because when you have a growing business, you obviously need more capital, you need more machinery, and having access to the capital especially is easier when you're in a public limited company. Okay, for machinery, maybe not as much. Like maybe it's just the same like private, or even harder than private limited companies. But then for capital, having a public one is easy. So and then it doesn't really have to be repaid because you're under the public sector. So secondly, shares will be available on the stock exchange. That is another good one. Also, there's no limitations to who can buy your shares. So we all know that private limited companies, you can't possibly sell your shares to um, the public, basically, just the public. You only have to sell it to like close friends or family members. Other than that, you were not allowed to do so. So this is a good thing, I would say. Maybe, but it can also be a bad thing, by the way. So you can write this point as in the justification as well. Okay. So all right. However, being a private limited company, well, I didn't mention the limited company, but yeah, it's supposed to be there. Reduce the risk of takeover by helping to control who can buy the shares. Okay, so here there's this twist. All right, so again, it is a benefit here, and I also mention it here as well as a disadvantage. But then I did not really say that it's the same thing, because yes, it's good to sell to the public, but then it has its limitation. So yeah, that is it for this one. You will get 2 marks. 2 marks. Well, one for mentioning the risk of takeover, and then another is the one by helping to control who can share the business. Oh, sorry, who can buy the shares. All right. What else do we have here? Okay, so for this one is better form of festival. Okay, this one could be 3 marks, 2 to 3 marks actually. Okay, so it depends. And then this one, the, the limitation one. Okay, this is 2 marks. All right, and then there you have it. Okay, for this one, depends, because when they're marking, they might actually give you 3 for this one and maybe 1 for the justification. It depends. It depends on how good your points are over here. So if they think you've written well here, then maybe they might give you 3 for this one, and then they'll just end up giving you 1 for this one, because again, it's kind of mentioned over here. Not really, but then it is related to your second point, so they might give you 3 for this one instead. All right. So that is it for this paper, and that is also it for this video. I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section, or there's my email. Yeah, so I do hope it helped you, and if you did like this video, please leave a like and also subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot. Thank you.